It's so great to speak with you, my friends, and I apologize that it's been so long since I filmed a video. I think after my last two videos, I was just kind of over it for a little while, and I was also traveling even more, and so I just didn't have the inspiration or the time to really sit down and make content. Uh, I'm actually back in Scotland, only for a week this time on a self-guided silent meditation retreat. It's about to start tomorrow. But as I was in the shower tonight, I was struck with inspiration, and so I decided to just sit down and talk to the camera for a little bit about an experience that I had earlier this year and some of the wider spiritual implications that it evokes. So, in January, I was in North Carolina for a spiritual retreat in a contemporary spiritual community. And following the retreat, I had to fly home through the North Carolina airport in the Raleigh-Durham area. I had a couple hours to kill in the airport, and so as any young, strapping gay man does, I decided to hop on Grindr and check the scene out for a while. And long story short, I ended up being sexually intimate with some random man in an airport bathroom, because that's what queers do, and then cuddling with this guy at a random gate. And the intention wasn't to have this whole intimate series of events with this person. The idea was quite literally come and go. But I suppose we just connected in some deeper way, and we chose to spend time with each other, just existing in each other's presence and sharing deep conversation and just holding each other in a public space, in a somewhat conservative area, without any regard for what others might think of us, or any self-consciousness in our own expression to each other. And I've always wanted to say I love you to a stranger. I don't know why I've always wanted to do that, but there's just some part of me that feels like it's something that everybody should experience at least once. And so I was cuddling with this random dude at this airport gate, which, by the way, I almost missed my flight because of this. And I told him, I was like, look, I want to say something really weird. And it's not because I have romantic feelings for you, because obviously I don't. We literally just met. But I've always wanted to say this to a stranger. I love you. And he looked at me like I had 3 fucking heads and had just told him that his mother died. And it was the most awkward moment ever. He was like, okay. And there were no hard feelings about it. It didn't ruin anything, and we still, he didn't block me after. But I reflect on that moment sometimes when it's 3 a.m. and my brain is keeping me up by showing random images in my mind, trying to figure out what that moment was and how I see it now. And we did love each other. It was love. And I'm willing to say that now. Because if you are willing to let down your veneers of being a reasonable person to such a degree that you have sex with somebody in an airport that you had never met before, and if you are willing to talk about genuinely personal experiences to that person in a public environment, that is love. And there's something deeply spiritual about that love. Because in many ways, the entire path of spiritual development is a path of continuously letting down your guard, a path of engaging in deeper and deeper communion with the world around you. And the spiritual path is an incredibly sensual experience. I would say a sexual experience. When you really dive deep into the energy that flows through your body, when you really allow yourself to surrender to grace with complete abandon, it's like you're allowing this love to simply wash over you. And I'm not talking about love as a particular experience or state of mind or bliss state that you might associate with your image of what enlightenment is, but simply the willingness to see yourself clearly, the willingness to embrace the raw, energetic isness of your own animal nature, the willingness to allow yourself to explore your most carnal impulses and to do so without shame, to do so with a lack of self-consciousness, to do so with the simple intention of living your life for the sake of life itself. And I know that that sounds really rambly, but I guess all of that is just to say that I don't know, it's like, all I really want from people these days is intimacy without agenda. I feel most fulfilled in my social interactions when I can just exist around somebody, and exist around somebody as the animal that I am, as the raw messiness that is my own nature. When I can simply feel and move from the heart and allow that to pervade my entire experience. And I think socially, our culture, especially here in the West, is so hell-bent on having each individual maintain this image of having their shit together. You just look at the way that people carry themselves in public, the rigidity in their stride, the way that they trim their speech, to match a certain set of cultural standards. The way that we refuse to make noise, we keep ourselves contained. And you compare that to how a child moves in public, how a child speaks, how a child simply allows their body to contort to its raw animal nature. And it's like, what I really want for this world is just the embracing of that animalness. Sorry, I keep rubbing my nose. The water keeps dripping all over me. What I want from my relationships, from my friendships, from even interactions with strangers is, at least for myself, to abandon this delusion that I'm anything else but an animal. And I don't mean that in a pessimistic way. I think it's the most beautiful thing ever to fully embrace and cherish just how primal and gross and absurd your own existence is, and to allow yourself to just be totally intimate with the entire world, without agenda, without expectation. That is incredibly rambly. It's been a while since I've filmed, and I'm only doing this in one take, so I'm a bit rusty. But yeah, that's just an experience that I think about sometimes. And I hope I can say I love you to more strangers. And not just strangers too. I want to say it to my friends more, and to my family more, and to my eventual partner. And I really want to mean it. And most importantly, I want to say it to myself. Because what else is there to do?